Which one is going for heritage? Where's the?
So I just did it in the right place, so maybe move the photo.
Yeah, this one. Okay.
You can talk. So cute. He just wished me good Shabbos. I didn't realize he could talk. What happens when you know little kid? I'll do it a little bit.
It's just a bit.
You're hot?
Yeah, we're just right upstairs and right here.
I'm asking because I don't know if we should turn the AC on or not. Sure. Rabbi Majeski. Probably turn off. Huh?
Fingers on that. I ran here.
Oh, which means you have to. I'm wondering where you have to.
Yes, you go. Maybe.
Well, yes, I have. Does he know Facebook Live is on that?
Is it sound on?
But they get to see the lovely artwork. I'm proud of it, you know.
Wow, I should just explain in detail. I did because I was having Instagram.
Wait, really? You send it to me, please?
I mean, it's only going to be open soon, but.
Wait,
Through the
pick it up?
Kingston entrance, you're saying?
No, wait, tell me.
So you needed something.
Oh, like the back?
I've been trying to figure it out.
I never went there.
Do you have break notes or?
I have no idea. I think it's from Union. When you come up from
So you go
Union.
between and then you go
It's like in the alley.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Because I've been trying to figure out how to get in there for ages.
Okay.
The fisher said you either have to sneak through the back of the men's section or you go through an alleyway.
So alleyway.
Alleyway is preferential.
Yeah. Probably more awkward to go through the.
Oh no, but like think about it. I'm just thinking about people take toiletries to Mission Impossible theme at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know all the shakes and stuff that they do. If they're up, so.
I'm excited for when the women
Could
get
you
the
send
law.
that to me?
Sure.
I know, yeah, I'm gonna.
Especially the description also.
Thank you so much. I'll have my reception.
Does that happen multiple times a year?
Yeah, it happened earlier this year around. I forget what the occasion was.
Was it girls, right?
Yeah. He said not this Tuesday, but during. It's right before. Something. Yeah. Maybe it's during.
Oh, such service is open to the pay. Wow. Okay. Hi, Atkins is here. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to here. Rivka Rachel O'Connor. I see you there. Malka's here. Naja's in the other class. Hannah's in the other class. Shana, neighbor Rivka. Hannah's not here today? I guess not. Okay, get started. So we're doing this booklet, Moshiach Geula. Yeah. Okay. So we were going through the sources in Tanakh, meaning in the books of the Navi, prophets, where it says what about Mashiach. So there's a lot of things that you've heard, and you don't know if this is just hearsay or it actually has a source. So we're going through briefly how so many things that you've heard actually do have a source, and here are the sources. But then later, after this, we're going to start learning Rambam to go into things more in depth. Page 12. Let's turn to page 12 in the booklet. Page 12 is the source for the fact that when Mashiach comes, those days that we fast 4 times a year because of the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. When Mashiach comes, there will no longer be days of fasting, that's obvious. But not only it won't be days of fasting, they'll actually be transformed into a Yom Tov. Now, it's very difficult to understand why, but first let's just establish where's the source. So this is on page 12. This is from the book of prophets, which is called Yirmiyahu. On top of the page, it's underlined, and it says like this. It's talking about the times of Mashiach. The maiden shall rejoice with dance, and young men and old men will rejoice together. Then it says these words, I will transform their mourning into joy. I shall comfort them and gladden them from their grief. And we'll soon see there's another pasuk that says clearly, I will transform all the fast days and they'll become happy days. Okay. That's page 12. The next one is page 13. I don't think we had this yet. That one of the things that will happen when Mashiach comes, I think we did have it, that the whole world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. That's on page 13. This is from Yeshayahu, Isaiah. And again, where it's underlined, it says, in those days, they will no longer teach. One person won't have to teach another person. One person wouldn't have to teach his brother and say to him, know Hashem, because all of them will know me, from the smallest to the greatest. So that's saying that when Mashiach comes, we'll all have the knowledge of Hashem. Now, in fact, we'll learn later, this is one of the reasons why Hasidus, which is the more mystical, esoteric part of Torah, for generations was hidden, and only in the recent few hundred years did it become public knowledge. And one of the reasons for that is because Mashiach comes, everybody will have an understanding of Hashem. So before Mashiach comes, as an orientation and an introduction, getting ready, these deeper sections of Torah that deal with knowing Hashem started to be revealed. And that's what we're doing when we learn Hasidus. We're learning about the spiritual realm, about the 10 spheres, about how Hashem created the world. So this is based on this verse that when Mashiach comes, the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. Page 14. One of the things which we learn about Mashiach is that not only will Mashiach be a great tzaddik, but there's another condition. He must be someone who is a descendant from King David. Where's the source of that? So there's more than one place, but here's one of the sources. Page 14. says at the bottom, behold, days are coming. Remember, whenever it says days are coming, those days, in the end of days, it's all alluding to Mashiach. The word of Hashem, when I will establish a righteous sprout from David, the person who's going to be leading us in that generation will be a sprout from King David. A king will reign and prosper. He will administer justice and righteousness in the land. In his days, Judah will be saved and Israel will be dwell securely. This is the name people will call him. Hashem is our righteousness. And that's why we refer to Mashiach as Mashiach Tzidkenu, our righteous Mashiach. So what does it say here? It'll be a sprout from King David. That's one of the sources that only someone who is a descendant of King David is qualified to be Mashiach. Then we go to page 15. I think what it says on page 15 we already did in Gathering of the Exiles, so we'll skip that for now. Number 16. So on page 16, we also have some things which we already had. A lot of things are found more than once. But one of them is that when Mashiach comes, we will see, by the way, everyone should recognize these words because we sing it at a wedding. It's in the blessings for weddings. Let's see the words inside. So said Hashem, there will again be heard in this place, the place that's destroyed. There's no man, there's no animal, which are the cities of Judah. The streets of Yerushalayim are desolate. Desolate means it's empty. Without man, without inhabitants, without animal. But soon will come a time that the sound of joy, the sound of gladness, the sound of a groom, of a chassan, and the sound of a kala, the sound of people saying, praise be Hashem. Hashem is good, his mercy is forever. People will bring thanksgiving in the temple. I will return the captivity of the land, which means, this is where it said that Eretz Yisrael will come back to the Jewish people, which already we're witnessing that, and they're still not 100% secure. We're worried from time to time there are terrorists and time to time things that happen. But we're in that zone where soon there'll be a time where there'll be total security and happiness in the city of Yerushalayim. Also over here on this page, we see another source, like before, that Mashiach is not just an era, it's a person. Remember, many people make that mistake and think that redemption is an era. There'll come a time when things will be good. There'll be one of the things that we need to believe in is that there'll be a person leading us in that time. And later when we do Rambam, we'll talk more about what it means and why. But this is also here where it says that in those days, at that time, there'll be a sprout of righteousness, will sprout forth from King David. Again, the same thing. There'll be a person who is going to be a descendant of King David. It's pretty similar to the other one. He will administer justice and righteousness in the land. And those days, Judah will be saved, Yerushalayim will be secure, and so on. Let's go to the next one. Page, what does it say in the front? Next, we're up to page 17. Let's go to page 18. Page 18 is something I mentioned before, but here you can see it inside. Let's look at page 18. And that is regarding the fast days. Let's see what it says at the bottom of the page. So said Hashem, the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the fast of the 7th month, and the fast of the 10th month will be for the house of Judah, joy and gladness, and be happy festivals. So what do we see here? That not only these days will no longer be on the calendar, they'll be on the calendar, but instead of being sad days, they're going to become festivals. What does it mean, the fast of the 4th? So you know the Hebrew months today have names. This month is Elul. In the times of when this was written, they didn't have names. They were all identified by numbers. There's the 7th month, the 1st month. So let's look again. The 4th month. Which is the 4th month? What? From Nisan.
From Nisan, it's like the month.
Right. And Tammuz was a fast day, the 17th of Tammuz. The 5th month is the month of Av. We have Tisha B'Av, a fast day. The 7th month is Tishrei. Right after Rosh Hashanah is a fast day called Tzom Gedalia. And the 10th month is the 10th day in Teves, which is also a fast day. So all these fast days, they're all about different things that happened with the Beis HaMikdash. When it was destroyed, they'll all become Yom Tov. You look at the top of the page, it's another prophecy, and that's, again, how we see how close we are to redemption. It says on top of the page, Hashem said, old men and old women will once again sit in the streets of Yerushalayim with their sticks in their hand because at an advanced age, and the streets of the city will be filled with boys and girls playing in the streets. So you say to yourself, well, what's new? Of course, that's what's happening. But it didn't happen for 2,000 years. Jews didn't have Yerushalayim. And in general, Jerusalem and Israel Bichlal was desolate. It wasn't really a country that was, people could live there. Very few Jews lived there. Page 19. I'm sure you've heard this thing, that when Mashiach comes, Hashem will blow a shofar. Again, where's the source for that? So that's on page 19. The other thing is that Mashiach will come riding on a donkey. What do you need a donkey for? You can come with a jet, airplane. But this is what it says. Look at the words on page 19. On the top line it says, rejoice, our daughter of Zion, shout for joy. Behold, your king will come to you, righteous and victorious. He is a humble man riding on a donkey. So that's the source, that Mashiach will come riding on a donkey. Does it mean literally, or is it a metaphor of something? So we'll have a discussion about that. But when you hear people say Mashiach will come on a donkey, it has a source. It's over here. A little bit further is where it says that Hashem will blow the shofar. Hashem will appear to them. His arrow will go forth like lightning, and Hashem will blow with a shofar and go forth in the southern tempest, which means that Hashem will blow the shofar, and that'll be the sign that Mashiach is here. Page 20, it says the Mashiach will stand on the Mount of Olives, and there will no longer be klipa, no more be impurity in the world. The Mount of Olives, it's in Hebrew, it's called Har HaZeitim. It's in Israel, right next to the Beis HaMikdash. And it has special significance because of this verse. That Mashiach is going to come, where's he going to stand first? On the Mount of Olives. Yep.
I think there's a cemetery.
Because it's such a special place, a lot of tzaddikim requested they be buried on that mountain.
So that when Mashiach comes,
They'll be there. Could anyone think of a connection between olives and Mashiach? It should be a simple connection.
Olive branches.
Okay.
Oil,
What is oil?
like crushed olives. We dip the oil. It's like
Let's think of something simple. What? Which word?
Anointed the king.
Right. Right. What does the word Mashiach mean? Remember? The anointed one. They used to anoint the king with oil, and not ordinary oil, it had to be olive oil. So we already see there's some connection between Mashiach and olive oil on the Mount of Olives. What it is, when we learn more, we'll go into the details. If I forget, you could remind me. Okay. Where does it say there won't be any more Yetzer Hara, there won't be any more sin, there won't be any more negative things? On top of the page, it says, Vesruach hatuma, avim and earth. I will also remove false prophets and the spirit of impurity from the land. There will no longer be impurity. There will only be godliness and goodness. That's page 20. Let's go to page 21. There's a lot of confusion. What will happen with the other nations in the world when Mashiach comes? A lot of things that people say that are baseless. What does it say in the Torah? That when Mashiach comes, all the nations will change, all the nations will accept Hashem, and they'll all follow the teachings of Mashiach. Not that they're going to become Jewish, they'll be who they are, but they will accept Hashem and observe their 7 mitzvahs. So where do we see this? This is page 21. Let's look at page 21. What does it say there? It says, Hashem will be the king over the entire land. On that day, Hashem will be one, and his name will be one. Which means that right now, not everybody accepts Hashem. And on that day, Hashem will be one. The whole world will be accepting of Hashem. And by the way, this is also the meaning of the Shema. Every day we say Shema. Shema Yisrael, Hear O Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, God our God, Hashem Echad, God is one. What does that mean? One of the interpretations is in Rashi. Everyone knows that Rashi is the most primary commentary on the Torah. Look at Rashi on that verse, and Rashi says like this: what does it mean, Hashem our God, Hashem is one? That Hashem, who's our God, but not the whole world accepted, only our God, when Mashiach comes, will be one. The whole world will accept him. So we say this every single day. But there's another source for this. Let me see if I can find it. If you want to look, we'll jump for a second to page 37 and 38. 37, 37a. 37, where it talks about what will happen with the nations of the world. So it says these words. On the bottom, it's underlined. Ki oz epech halamim safa brura. For then I will change the nations to speak a pure language, so that they all will proclaim the name of Hashem, to worship him with united resolve. That all the nations and the Jewish people will all be united to serve Hashem together. They'll serve Hashem their way, and we'll serve Hashem our way. So this is clear that when Mashiach comes, Mashiach is not just for the Jewish nations, for the whole world. Okay, that was page 21. Page 22, it has the gathering with exile, but here we have a new thing. One of the principles of belief is that Mashiach comes at a certain point, all the dead will come back to life. Where's the source for that? In a number of places in the book of Tanakh, in the book of the prophets. But one of those sources is here on page 22. Let's see that inside. There are people that even though they believe in Mashiach, but when you tell them that they'll come back to life, their eyes pop. Now, come on. I still remember here in a class, I gave a class and I spoke about dead come back to life. And this woman raises her hand and goes, Rabbi Majeski, is that literal or is that a metaphor? No, that's literal. Come on, now that's stretching it already. But this is one of the most basic principles of Jewish belief. When Mashiach comes, those that passed away will come back to life. So, let's look, before we go to that page, let's look for a moment on page 27, or rather 27a. Yeah, you see where it's underlined in the Hebrew and in the English. It says this is a prophecy that the dead will come to life, corpse will arise, awake and shout for joy, those who rest in the earth, right? The dirt, but it's really the earth. Those who rest on the earth, that they will come back to life. There's another verse that says the same thing, which is on page 28. It's underlined on the bottom. I hope it's not, the staple wouldn't block you from seeing it. But then it says over there, yeah, it's the last sentence on the page. Many of those who sleep in the dust, earth will awaken to live forever. Again, the same thing. What you see on page 22 is a story that happened with one of the Nevi'im, one of the prophets, whose name was Ezekiel. And really, it's not just one verse. It's you can read it later yourself. It's an entire page, 2 pages, where Hashem told him to go to a valley. And in the valley, there were just skeletons of people that had died. And then Hashem told him to bring them all back to life. And he said, just like you see they're brought back to life, that's also what's going to happen in the future. So not only is it something which will happen in the future, but here it says that this already happened in the past, where Hashem told the prophet to bring back all those that died in that valley, that they should become brought back to life. Page 23. There will be only one king, a descendant of King David. What does that mean? If you know a little bit about Jewish history, when the Jews were in Israel, yes, they had a King David. King David had a son, which is Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon. After that, the kingdom split. It split into 2 parts. There was one king who was a descendant of King David, and his palace was in Yerushalayim, and he came from the tribe of Yehuda. And there was another king who came from the tribe of Joseph, and he established a different kingdom in the city of Shechem. And in fact, he had the majority of the Jews on his side. He had 10 tribes, and on the side of the king who was from David, there were only 2.5 tribes: the tribe of Yehuda, tribe of Benjamin, and half of the tribe of Levi. So have you ever heard the term the 10 lost tribes? These are the 10 tribes that they went to exile and were lost, were no longer connected to them. Yeah.
One half of the tribe.
It seems, one half went to this king. The other tribe, they all went in one direction. And the Levi, half of them were dedicated and half of them not. So it means all the Jews today around the world are either from the tribe of Yehuda or the tribe of Benjamin or the tribe of Levi. So those are Kohanim and Leviim, they're all from the tribe of Levi. Everybody else is either from Benjamin or Yehuda. Yeah.
And all maps have seen the tribe of Shimon is right in the middle of the tribe of Yehuda, like it's surrounded on all sides. So they went north, or we just lost the entire tribe.
What happened was that they were taken into exile. The exile of the 10 tribes was, I think, about 100 years earlier before the other tribes. And they never came back. We don't know what happened to them. There are all sorts of theories. Even in Gemara, there are different opinions.
Like the people who don't know the tribe.
Whoever doesn't know the tribe is Yisrael. And Yisrael means either Yehuda or Benjamin. But it's interesting that all the tribes, though, were under the rule of King David. So therefore, they go by the name of Yehuda, because King David was from the tribe of Yehuda. And that's where the word Jew comes from. If you ever thought about it, where does the word Jew come from? Because the Jews were from the tribe of Yehuda, Jehuda, and that's how it became Jews. That's the name. And when Mashiach comes, these tribes will also come back. Yeah. 10 tribes. Some opinions are that the Ethiopian Jews are from the 10 tribes. Some people say that they ended up in Japan. Some people say this, some people say that. There are a lot of different opinions.
You'll never come back.
No, it says when Mashiach comes, they're going to come back. Yeah. Nobody will get lost. Right. Yeah, no Jew will be left behind.
Everyone went somewhere and there was one person left, and then the king said to go back and bring more. I don't know.
Yeah, you mean the story with the Agdamas. It's we'll get there when we do the Rambam. Number 24, 25 is again sources that the third Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt. We did this already, but here's another source, page 24, page 25. That the Beis Hamikdash, the third Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt. And in fact, what you see on page 24, 25 is an entire chapter, a few chapters in the book of Yechezkel, where Hashem sent an angel, and the angel showed him the image of the third Beis Hamikdash, and he gave him all the measurements of the third Beis Hamikdash. It's all in this book of Yechezkel. In fact, when he lived during the time of the Babylonian exile, when the exile ended and they went back to Israel, they built the second temple in a way that's similar to the first, and in some ways similar to what's written here about the third. The next one is interesting because it's a little bit relevant to us today, not a little bit, a lot relevant. It says the downfall of Iraq, which is Babylon, will precede the redemption of Israel. A prophet will arise before the redemption that will prophesy the above. What I'm looking at is on page 26 and page 27, where it says that, look in the English, there shall be, look at the verse number 3, for there will be another vision for the appointed time. He shall speak of the end and it shall not fail. Though it'll tarry, it'll take time, wait for it. It'll surely come. It'll not be delayed. What is he talking about? So if you look at Rashi, I underlined Rashi's commentary on page 26. You see there's an arrow. Rashi says the prophet will arise at the end of the years, and a vision will be revealed to this prophet concerning the appointed time, will be the downfall of Babylon and the redemption of Israel. Why am I saying it's relevant? Because Iraq is Babylon. Iraq is the ancient Babylon. And in the recent years, one of the big threats to Israel was coming from Iraq. They were threatening to destroy Israel. The prime minister of Iraq, or the king, I don't know what kind of title he had, his name was Saddam Hussein. He hated Israel with a passion. And not only that, he claimed that he's a reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is the king of Babylon that destroyed Yerushalayim. He claimed that. And not only claimed it, he named a lot of things in his country by the name of Nebuchadnezzar, indicating that he is a descendant, not a descendant, he's a reincarnation, and his mission is to do what he didn't finish, to destroy Jerusalem completely.
So he's saying that he believes in the concept of bullying.
Right.
And that
he believed something.
He believes in one of our...
Right. So basically, at the time that this was happening, everybody was very frightened, and the Rebbe then said that we're going to see great miracles. Basically, he no longer is alive. He was eventually captured and he was executed. And that was the downfall of Iraq as a country representing the Nebuchadnezzar and all that. And the Rebbe said that after that, we'll see the rise of Yerushalayim. And we'll go more into it, but this is another source in the Navi, how it's relevant to our times. 27a, we already did that. 28. So there'll be unprecedented tsaras. Unprecedented tsaras means undesirable things. Those that will be written in the book will be saved. What does that mean? So I think we mentioned already that no one has even a question. Everyone agrees. All authorities of Torah, from all ends of the spectrum, all agree that we're living in the time of Mashiach. Really, the only thing that the Rebbe added is that now it's imminent, and now it's happening, and we're already in the process. But everyone agrees that the signs have been fulfilled. But one of the signs, which is the strongest sign, is that this verse. If you look at page 28, it says, at that time, Michael will stand. Who's Michael? The great heavenly prince who stands in support of the members of your people. Just like there's an angel in heaven that's the prosecuting angel, he's called the Satan. There's also an angel which is the opposite. He is the advocate for all the Jewish people. And his name is Michael. That's what it means. He's a heavenly prince. And he stands in support of your people. There will be a time of trouble, such trouble that there's never been anything like it since there was a nation. But at that time, the people escape, and everyone that is written in the book will occur, and it goes on with that, which basically means there's going to come a time where there's going to be such a terrible time that it's unprecedented. We've never had anything like it. Everybody, those who went through the Holocaust and after the Holocaust said, there's no doubt that the Holocaust is the time in this prophecy, and therefore it's one of the signs that are leading up to Mashiach. Let's jump now to page 30 and 31. It says, when Mashiach comes, everyone will have prophecy bestowed upon them. How do you like that? A good gift. Where do we know such a thing that we'll all have prophecy? So let's look at page 30, 31. And this is how it reads. Look at the bottom of the page. First, it talks about the times of Mashiach. And then it says, and after this, I will pour my spirit upon all flesh. On your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your elders will dream, means prophetic dreams, and young men will see visions. Even also the slaves and the maidservants, in those days I will pour out my spirit. So every single one will have prophecy, which means that Hashem's presence will be so revealed that we'll all have the prophecy. It's not a trick, it's not a technique. It means it's a spiritual phenomenon that will be so connected to Hashem that we'll have prophecy. Number 33a. Have you ever heard such a thing that Mashiach will come on a cloud? Before we said Mashiach will come on a donkey. Here it says Mashiach will come on a cloud. Where's that? Page 33a. Let's see the words inside. Look at the top of the page. I was watching in night visions. This is a prophet speaking. He saw a prophetic vision. And behold, with the clouds of heaven, one like a man came. He came up to the Ancient One of Days and so on. So the Gemara says this is referring to Mashiach, that he's going to come on a cloud. Before we had a part that said he's going to come on a donkey. So the Gemara deals with that contradiction. But if anyone tells you, I heard Mashiach is coming on a donkey, yes, it's true. If someone tells you, I heard Mashiach is coming on a cloud, yes, that's also true. And we'll learn more about the details. I just want to show you the sources. Let's see what else we can point out to. Number 34. If you ever heard anyone say that before Mashiach comes, Elio Hanavi will come. Hanavi is a prophet, Elijah the prophet. Who is he? He is someone who actually lived in the times of the Tanakh, of the prophets. He lived a few generations after King David. Actually, he was the prophet of that time. And it says that he will come back before Mashiach to let us know about the arrival of Mashiach. Where do we see this? Look at the bottom of page 34. Behold, I send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and awesome day of Hashem. Again, the great, awesome day of Hashem is the time of Mashiach. And he will turn back all the Yidden to God, turn back the hearts of the fathers and their sons, and the hearts of the sons with their fathers, lest I come and strike the land with utter destruction, whatever. So this is basically the source that Eliyahu Navi is going to come before Mashiach. Yeah. And he will, what do you mean when it says? Right, so I guess it's referring to the wicked people of those days will be destroyed. I'm looking at the commentary here, but it's hard to read it. I think that's what it means. Yeah. We're going to elaborate all this more when we get into the Rambam. That's where Rambam also talks about Mashiach, about the prophet coming. Okay, we have one more minute, so let's do number 35. There will be a war between Gog and Magog. Who is Gog and who is Magog? So the source for this is page 35. This is also the book of prophets, and it's the prophet of Yechezkel. If you look on top of the page, it says, the word of Hashem came to me saying, Son of man, direct your face towards Gog and the land of Magog. And then it goes on to say how there's going to be a war between these two nations. So these are biblical names. We don't know who they are today. And again, people wrote books and articles and all sorts of ideas of who it might be today. We don't know. But it says there'll be a war between Gog and Magog, and that'll be preceding the coming Mashiach. And some opinions hold that the war already took place. Some opinion holds that this is also a metaphor. It doesn't have to be taking place in a literal sense. It could be in a war in a more of a spiritual sense. But there's no doubt that the idea of a war between Gog and Magog has a source. It's in Tanakh. The only question is how to understand it. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Go for the next class. Wishing everybody a good Shabbos. Yeah. Anybody going straight back to the dorm from here? Yes. Who said yeah? Could you give this to Mrs. Ruddle? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we've accomplished week 1, Baruch Hashem. We are airborne.
forever. Is that